Hey everybody, it says we're live, so I'm going to assume we are. Hopefully you guys are out there. Hopefully you're ready to have a little conversation, a little chat, a little tete-a-tete. My name is Michael Bunker. This is the Bunker Nation, where we think and thrive. Glad you guys could be here. Anyways, I'm Michael Bunker. I'm going to be your host for the evening. If you have any type of comments or questions or anything you want to talk about, you can put them in the comment section. Maybe we'll talk about them. You never know. I tolerate you, Daniel. All right, Daniel's here. Pat is here from Montana. Mary from Oregon. Ethan, I don't know exactly where you are. Is it Indiana, Illinois, or Ohio? Somewhere in that area? Let me know. All right, everybody. I'm glad you could be here. We got to do this box thing. And after we do the boxing, we're going to talk a little bit. If I can hit the right button. It's painful sometimes. All right, well, Ethan is in Alaska. War Dog Heim is here, and he's in Montana. Glad you guys could be here. Pile on in here. Everybody pushing. Make sure to get everybody out of your way. Don't worry about social distancing. Come on in here. Everybody push in. Make your way. Grab a seat. You got a keyboard in front of you. Come into the comment section. Type in where you are and say hi, howdy. Be friendly. Just be friendly. By the way, a tip I gave on, I displayed by behavior today. Something you might learn, teach you a little bit about thinking. Hit the like button. That's right, Pat. Russ is in Ohio. Good to see you. I'm going to teach you a trick. Here it is. Whenever you are wrong, the instant, the microsecond that you discover that you're wrong, admit it out loud and say, I was wrong. Let me tell you how this works. It's actually pretty spectacular. And I'll even tell you, I knew it kind of subconsciously, but how it actually, the lesson hit me and became ingrained in my understanding. I'll get to your questions about my hair, Ethan and Daniel. I'm teaching a lesson right here that's valuable. Everybody get away from the keyboard for 5 seconds and you're going to learn something valuable. We were visiting friends, faraway lands. I don't want to impugn anybody because these are great people. We had great time. It was great fun, and I would love to do it again sometime. But we were staying with these two brothers. These two brothers fought all the time, constantly argued from morning to night. They argued about everything. They argued about things that you wouldn't even argue about in a million years. And I started to notice something. We were with them for 6 weeks. I started to notice something. And it's something that I knew, but it just came into my conscious mind from my subconscious mind. And that is, when somebody realizes, the instant they realize they're wrong, you can tell. A look passes over their face. Most people will never notice it. They'll never see it. Hello, Richard King in Lubbock, Texas. It's almost like butcher face, which I talk about in God in the Storm book. There are subconscious facial tics and cues that allow you to gather information. When somebody is lying, their face gives it away most of the time. When somebody is trying not to say something, there are cues and clues that you can pick up about that. When somebody is in the middle of thinking they are absolutely right and that thought just passes through their mind that they're wrong, you can see it that second. That's the second when you admit it. Let me tell you why. You're driving down the road and somebody like pulls out right in front of you or almost hits you. That immediate adrenaline rush, that immediate chemical that flashes through your whole body. And then you get home 8 hours later and you go and tell your wife or your husband, you say, oh man, some guy just like nearly killed me. You remember it because of the dopamine and the adrenaline and all that kind of stuff that made it into a big deal. People that argue a lot, people in general like to be right. And when they think they're right and they think you're wrong, they like to argue because they want to prove that they're right. And there's a certain dopamine adrenaline rush that people get when they think that they're right. And so the reason that an argument continues is because both sides think they're right and they keep pushing, even if one of them at some point realizes they're wrong, but they won't give it up because they want that rush. Here's what happens when you say, I was wrong and you were right. Immediately. It's like when you're driving down the road and somebody just kind of creeps up on the stop sign a little bit too far and then stops and they don't almost kill you. You forget about it. You don't get home and tell your wife, some guy like went 3 feet past the stop sign. I thought he was going to hit me. You may have thought he was going to hit you, but you don't remember it. You don't remember it. It's gone. Here's the thing. When you say immediately, I was wrong, you were right, a day from now, they will never remember that you were wrong, ever. It's already gone. They lost their opportunity for the dopamine rush of the argument. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate you caring about me. I'm feeling tons better. Still a little, a few pounds down, but it may stay that way. So let me tell you why this is important. I have a reputation for being right a lot. And that is primarily because I'm right a lot. But the second reason why I have a reputation for being right a lot is when I'm wrong, I admit it so fast, people will never remember that I was wrong. So yesterday I was telling somebody, I don't think Kamala Harris is going to be the vice president nominee. I think it's going to be Michelle Obama. Only because I think that's who eventually is going to be the nominee. That's a whole other thing. Don't want to talk about politics. Well, today I found out I was wrong. And you know what I did? 15 seconds after I found out I was wrong, I got on Facebook and said I was wrong. Even if you print it, even if it's in print, people will forget that you were wrong because it never turned into a thing. I've had people, in fact, these same two brothers during that 6-week trip, this all occurred to me. I watched them. And every time I was, we were building a computer and we were doing a bunch of stuff while I was there. And every time I got into a discussion with them, the instant I knew I was wrong, I would go, I was wrong. I was wrong. You're right. And you know what? They would just go on to something else. After about a couple of weeks of this, and I'm paying attention because I've been watching, one of them says to me, he goes like, it's almost like you think you're right all the time, or you are right all the time or something. I said, there's something you might want to notice. When I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong immediately. That's not completely true. When I know that I'm wrong, the instant you know that, I'm not saying say you're wrong when you don't think you're wrong. I'm saying the instant you know, and I'm not saying this because I got in an argument with anybody. I'm just saying that I did something today and it was a tactic. And I'm always trying to teach you these tactics because they would be valuable for you in your personal relationships, in your marriage, in your relationship with your children and all that. That doesn't mean that you aren't going to be wrong and not know it and argue it for a long time. That can happen because you never get that realization. The instant you get the realization, the instant, that microsecond when you realize you're wrong, stop everything and say this. Say, I was wrong and you were right. You will be surprised. You will be surprised at how many people will think they'll forget that you were ever wrong. All right, that was a free tip. The second thing I wanted to talk about, I got quite a few of these I could do. If you guys like stuff like that, if you like these little mental tricks of the trade, then let me know in the comment section and all that kind of stuff. After this video's over, go to YouTube because I could do a whole bunch of these. And we could talk about Butcher Face, which is in God in the Storm book. I've talked about it here, I think, as well. All right, so I've been seeing these. Someone did it again today, and I'm not picking on anybody. And if that person happens to be watching this, this is what I do. This is what I do. I call people stupid. It doesn't mean I think they're actually stupid. I'm talking about their particular behavior, and sometimes they are actually stupid. Anyways, I've been seeing these going on, maybe a year now, probably 20, 25 times. Hello, Hava. Hello, Indiana. Ethan, I'm just going off the top of my head. The verse is agree with your enemy while you're still in the way, immediately while you're still in the way. And I think it's in there actually twice in the Proverbs. It doesn't mean agree with your enemy when they're wrong. It means admit that you were wrong. All right. So here's the thing. Here's the thing that I've been seeing, and I saw again today. It's this. It's a post, and it's like, I laugh when I see people complaining about implanted microchips, and they're sitting there with a smartphone tracker in their hand. Oh, I could do a whole course on the logical stupidity of this comment. And I'm going to tell you why this comment is happening, why you're going to see it more and more. Basically, the idea is you have no reason or no real objection to a microchip planted inside your body for tracking you and to use for money if you're using a cell phone. This is the same stupid logic I have faced for 15 years of idiots crawling out of the muck of their mediocrity and saying, how can you be online if you're off grid? Oh, yeah, you're off grid and you're on Facebook and you got a YouTube channel. That kind of arrogant stupidity. I have no problem with stupidity. I have no problem with even people being dumb. I have a huge problem when the stupidity is arrogant. And so this you'll see this. And now that I'm mentioning it, you probably have already seen it, and you'll probably see it more. Let me go back through this. Well, thank you, Pat. I appreciate that you know that I admit when I'm wrong, but I have always made it a point. The instant that I know, not always, as an adult, the instant that I recognize that I've been wrong, I will say that I've been wrong, and in exactly what manner I've been wrong. So let's go back to this point. Because I have a cell phone, which has a tracking microchip in it, and has the ability to track and listen to me and all that kind of stuff, there's no difference. The accusation is made. There's no difference between that and a freaking microchip stuck into your hand or into your head or into your neck or into your arm. How stupid do you have to be to believe that? There is like a whole new level of stupid here. I could actually have my phone at the bottom of a pond in less than 45 seconds from right now. I could have it broken with the battery pulled out faster than that. How long would it take you to cut an incision with your rusty buck knife and give yourself sepsis to get rid of your chip, you stupid idiot? Why are you people even functioning, thinking like that? You seriously think a tracking chip implanted under the skin into your body with some type of powering ability is the same as carrying a device that I can shut off, break, or throw into a pond in under a minute? That I could put it into the back of a pickup truck going north in less than 12 minutes. That's not true. Admit when you're wrong immediately. It takes me 10 minutes to get off the property, then 12 minutes. In 22 minutes, I could have my phone in the back of a pickup truck heading towards Childress, Texas. God in the Storm is in paperback. It's available right now. Just go to Amazon.com or godinthestorm.com. You understand how irritating this is? How irritating it is to have otherwise engaged, seemingly functionally intelligent people who say stupid crap like this. And here's the thing. Here's why. How many times in your life, if you're over 10, have you heard, oh, this is going to be no big deal. This government intervention, this government overreach is just, it's going to be contained. It's not going to become bigger. They're not going to come back for more. All we're asking for is this one thing. All we're asking for is this, hey, listen, give us an assault weapons ban and we'll be done. We're never going to go after any other kinds of guns. This has been going on for my entire life. How many times? Let me give you the official verbiage here so you'll know it. The argument on both sides is called the slippery slope fallacy. Let me explain it to you. Slippery slope fallacy can work in two different directions. First of all, having a fallacious slippery slope argument is to allege that because a thing might have a tendency or could have a tendency to become something worse, that automatically it will. That's a fallacy because it's not automatic that it will unless you're dealing with government. The other way the slippery slope fallacy works is to go in the exact opposite direction. And that is to take a point in which the exacerbation of the point, the slippery slope, is reasonable and reasonably to be expected. All right? For example, if I say, hey, this guy who smoked weed should be thrown in prison. Why? Well, because if he's willing to do one drug, that's a slippery slope. The next thing he's going to be doing is heroin. The next thing he's going to do is meth. And if he's doing meth, he's going to rob from people. He's going to steal from people. He's going to murder people. And he's going to ruin society. So he should be in prison. That's a slippery slope fallacy. There's absolutely no evidence that somebody, some individual, in and of himself, by himself, doing marijuana is going to become a meth head. The other thing, the other direction of the slippery slope is when you have observed a behavior over a amount of time where Jed Clampett, another Jed, he just happens to be named Jed Clampett, every time he has the opportunity, steals. And every time he gets promoted, he steals more. And you say, I don't think we ought to promote this guy to CEO of the company because he's had 7 jobs in the company. And in all 7 jobs, he's stolen from the company and he's stolen more each time. And it's provable. And if the other side says, well, you can't know that. No, he's done stealing. He's put that all behind him. How stupid would it be? Let me tell you why I'm talking about this stuff. Because we've all seen it happen. Every single time there's a proposal made by some needle-neck wonk that's going to increase the size of government and the scope of government and the power of government and the intrusion of government, every time there's an army of simps out there, crypto socialists and worse, who immediately get on Facebook and Twitter and all the other places and they go, this isn't that bad. Come on now. You have a problem with Barney Fife being able to no-knock walk into your house and open your freezer to see if you have a deer in there? This is not the same as the government requiring you to wash your hands. You see what I'm saying? There's always simps. There's always little barking dogs who are willing to take on the grunt work, the dirty work of the people in charge and in power who want this stuff. Is it coming to a Kindle near me? Are you talking about God in the Storm? It is, because it's for sale on Amazon. All you got to do is go buy it. If you've already bought it, I don't know why you're not already reading it. It's available right now. So why would somebody get on Facebook and make the horrible, stupid, false equivalency between a cell phone with a tracking chip or with tracking technology and an implanted microchip. There's two reasons they would do that. Number one, they're just too dumb. They just don't know any better. They actually think that those two things are the same. And so the fact that I could have a Dixie cup, I don't think you can say Dixie anymore. Let's just say a Texas cup attached to a string that goes to my neighbor, and I happen to be talking off the cuff and my neighbor might be able to hear me. That's the exact same thing as having a microchip hardwired into the NSA, implanted into my hand, by which I cannot buy or sell. Let's all let that sink in. Are those the same things? Would somebody please do a whole Joe Rogan experience and cut out this part and send it to the idiots that keep putting this stuff online? Why did we not have a Michael Bunker experience where people can take these things and they can cut them out, and we got a 2-minute clip on YouTube that you can share all over the world? It's not the same thing to have a cell phone, however intrusive it is, however much of my privacy they are violating, however much I allow them to because of my economic desires to participate in the system, to say that that's the same thing as getting a microchip implanted that it's going to be required of me in order to buy or sell. Isn't that a little bit stupid? All right, let's dismiss with that. And here's the thing. You can't argue with me. You can't debate me on this. They're not the same. In the instant that I began to explain my point, a light went on in your head and you're like, you know, he's right. That's the moment where if you were wrong, you should say, I was wrong. That instant, that microsecond in which you realize you were wrong. If you're the simp that somebody sent this video to, who's so freaking stupid that they don't know the difference between an implanted microchip tracking device that won't allow me to buy groceries for my family if I refuse to put a pinch on the incense of the altar to Caesar, and you think that's the same as the fact that I can get on TikTok and watch white girls dance poorly, now's the time, idiot, for you to go, I was wrong. All right, so that's it for that. So here's the point. You knew there would be one. Every one of you, some of you have already been there. Some of us have already been there. The decision you're going to be put to, all of you have in your mind some fantastical idea of some theatrical thing where the government thug with his jackboots is going to drag you out in the street and he's going to put a gun to your head and he's going to say, deny Christ. And you're going to go, no, I will not. And he's going to shoot you dead and you're going to go to heaven and be received into the accolades and glory of the eternal kingdom. That decision is most likely not going to be made in the middle of the street with a gun to your head. The decision will be an economic one that you will have to make long before that. We are in the barrel of a decision in this country about what we're going to allow government to do. Because whether it's this, whether it's a mask, whether it's not a mask, whether it's vaccines or the next thing, what's happening is every pencil neck wonk out there who likes to make policy, who's a future homeowners of America council president, who likes to tell other people what to do, is already imagining all the penalties that can be imposed upon you for not doing the next thing that they're going to say you have to do. Internet just broke. What is it going to be? It'll be something. If it's not, if you don't wear a mask, you don't get to grocery shop. That's an economic decision. I talked about earlier this year about how they were already doing this in a lot of areas. And the state of Texas passed an illegal and unconstitutional surcharge on people who were found to have transgressed the moving violation laws of the state. They passed a double jeopardy surcharge, and rather than calling it a fine or a penalty, they called it a tax, a surcharge, and they sent everybody who got in a ticket or who gets a ticket that was considered a moving violation, they sent them a bill for up to $3,000 for a single offense, after the person had already adjudicated his charge, paid his fine, paid everything that was due, and he was equal with the state. He was absolutely out from under it. He would get a bill in the mail, he or she, for $1,000, $1,500, $3,000. Everybody who saw it, anybody with more than four brain cells, knew that that law was illegal and unconstitutional. I refused to pay it. So what they do is they don't go, oh, you don't want to pay it? We're going to send out the law, and the law is going to put you in jail, because that would make that fee a fine, and it would immediately go before the courts, and it would immediately get thrown out. So they knew they couldn't come at you directly. So what did they do? They said, if you have a surcharge and you haven't paid it, you can't have a driver's license. If you can't have a driver's license, you can't have a hunting license, you probably can't keep a job, and you're probably not going to get paid. It's an economic decision. If you're going to not go along with what the government says, they're not going to usually come at you face to face. They're going to make you and force you to make an economic decision. Now, here's where I'm going to piss off a bunch of people, and I want you to try to keep focused. Pretend like you got one of those pills that allows you to focus and gather together your dementia for long enough to listen to me. Don't get mad. Don't go running off. Don't think I'm attacking you or judging you. I'm not. I'm just saying that I have been in conversations with people where I plainly stated the facts. And the facts are, if you are sending your child to a Marxist indoctrination center called the public schools, you are doing so because it's an economic decision. You're doing it because it's what's best for you in your pocketbook. There is no place where it is absolutely mandatory and that doesn't allow you to move out of that place. Let me tell you how I know this, because I've lived in poverty for 15 years, longer than that, while all of my children stayed at home so that we wouldn't be forced to make that economic decision to send our children to somebody I considered an intellectual, moral, and philosophical enemy to educate our children. I'm not judging you if that's what you're doing. I'm not even talking about you. I'm saying it was an economic decision. I realized that it was going to take some sacrifice in order for us to do it. So, and that sacrifice is still available and still possible. I'm not encouraging anybody to do one thing or another. All we're talking about here, stay focused, is that what government does, and through it, the society, the sycophants that do whatever the government tells them to do, they put pressure on you, economic pressure, to continue doing what they're saying. And eventually that economic pressure is, oh, my mouth stopped working. That economic pressure is always backed up by the threat of violence and the gun. I'm trying to get rid of this thing. What does that mean? Oh, they go, oh, there's a vaccine mandate. If you don't go down there and get your family vaccinated or whatever, if you don't do it, then you're persona non grata. Can't go into stores, can't go into theaters, can't go out, can't go to work, can't get a job, can't get benefits. That's an economic decision. And that they will argue, we're not sending people out with guns. We're just saying you can't go to the theater. We're not sending people out with guns. We're saying you can't have a job. But what happens when you do what you need to do anyway? What happens? And don't get focused on the issue. The issue could be any number of things. Government says you have to do this, and it's unconstitutional for them to say that, but they say it, whatever the thing is, and you say, I'm not going to do that. And they go, hey, no problem. This is the land of the free. All we're saying is you can't work, you can't have a driver's license, you can't have a hunting license, you can't transact business, you can't trade, you can't barter, you can't buy, you can't sell, and you can't do this and you can't do that. That's all we're saying. And you go, I tell you what, go screw yourself, because there's a black market and I'm an intelligent person and I can grow my own food and I can trade and I can barter and I'll do whatever the hell I want to, and you can go stick it. And you know what they do then? Then they send in the guns. It'll never be about the issue. The thing is never the thing. It'll be about the other thing that you're violating. It'll be driving without a driver's license. It'll be transacting business without a license or without approval or without having your vaccination mark or whatever it is. You understand? So the guns are always there. The threat is always there. That's the thing. But what I want you to know from all of this is that you think you're going to be put to that decision. You think you're going to be put to that massive sacrificial point in your life, and it's going to be something magnificent. It's going to be them like Polycarp or something dragging you out there in front of the lions. That's not what's going to happen. It's going to be an economic decision. Let me tell you something. So far, your track record is not very good. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the economic pressure relief. You all allow me to keep doing what I'm doing, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, let me back up here. I got to go read a bunch of comments and questions. Did you ever find that other cistern on your property that you thought was by the original house? I think it's buried. I think it collapsed. But since the house up there is still there and has not been removed yet, I'll probably know someday. Now, there's a difference between that cistern and the fact that elsewhere on the community property, not on my property, I believe there is a spring. How long are you going to grow your hair? It's not so much that I'm growing it as that I'm not cutting it. So I'm not cutting it for a couple of reasons. First of all, I don't have anybody to cut it. And second of all, it's for the movie. And so if I happen to have the opportunity to be in the movie, it would be better to have as much to work with as possible, and then they can cut it if they want to cut it or whatever. If I don't have the opportunity to be in the movie, then that'll be great too. And I'll just get some clippers and I'll do a number one, and we'll be back to old school. All right, let me go down here. Hello, Richland Springs. Good to see you. Good to see you, Elijah. I am feeling better. All right, I'm going through the comments. I don't understand that one. Off topic. Is God in the Storm in paperback? It is. It is in paperback. It is available in the store. Ebook is available as well. Go to Amazon.com or go to godinthestorm.com if you want a signed book. But if you just want to get an ebook or you want to get a paperback, go to Amazon.com right now and buy the book. No government has ever given back power. That's true. Not willingly. And they never will. Richard says, every time I commit a crime, I put my phone on a train headed to the... There's like some place in the Rockies. It's like the place in Lost where all the tubes would come out of the ground, those banking tubes, and it just makes a big pile. There's probably like some field in the Rockies where there's just cell phones from Texas criminals. All right. Hello, Scott Glenn. Hava says she doesn't even chip her animals. We don't either. Some people say the implanted chip is the mark of the beast. Not sure if the mark is physical or something only God can see. All right, I got a lot to say about that. I've talked about it a lot, and I've written a lot about it, and I don't really want to get into it now. But I can just say that there can be representations of that mark that are not the mark per se. I believe the mark has been around for 2,000 years, or at least 1,400. And it is still around today, and we see it every year. But that said, by requiring people to have a chip or some implanted biometric marker that's a part of you, that's an identifier of you, that's part of how God made you independent from everybody else, to use that to buy or sell would certainly be a representation of that mark, and a hallmark, or a pentacle, or a whatever of it. I've seen lawyers keep making a legal argument that is provably wrong. It is ingrained in them that they cannot admit they are wrong. You're exactly right, Frank. There's a couple of reasons. Now, lawyers, they don't want to be wrong because they are always in front of their peers, and that being wrong would be something that would be noted. Although a good lawyer who did what I said and admitted they were wrong up front would garner respect. The other reason why people won't admit they're wrong is because they're too involved in the drug addiction of the argument, and no longer has anything to do with their right or wrong, whether they're right or wrong. I got in a discussion with a guy one day about the proper way to open a banana. And the only reason why it was a discussion was because in something like that, someone has to say something completely obscenely stupid or weird. All right. So if somebody came up to you and said the appropriate way to open up a jar of peanut butter is to get a glass cutter and cut the bottom out of it, you would go, what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Hello, Danielle. Well, this guy was arguing the proper way to open a banana, and he was talking about it completely backwards, and he just kept arguing. Even after, and this went long enough that we got online and looked up all the different ways. And even after it became so obvious that he was wrong and that his mom had taught him some freakishly weird way to open a banana, he still did not admit that he was wrong. He was so invested in the fact that he never wanted to be wrong, he didn't want to be shown to be wrong, that he would rather have everybody know he's wrong, and he's so obstinate that he wouldn't admit it, than to admit that he was wrong. To me, that's the worst thing. Even if you're a narcissist and you love yourself, wouldn't you love yourself enough to go, you know what? I'm going to garner a lot more respect from people if I tell them I was wrong than if I denied it, even though everybody knows it. Mordogheim says, if then is not freedom. You're right. Dependency clauses are always the threat. The thing is never the thing. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness will be used as an offer we can't refuse. Yeah, and it already is. All right. Banking tunes. What in the world's a banking tune? Do I need to put on my glasses? I don't know what a banking tune is, Scott. So then I don't know what a mahogger is. This is not just a anti-government screed, although I've been known to do those things. This is a how to think lesson. And the fact that most people are deceived when they think that the decision they're being put to is down the road. It's not. You've been making it all along. That's why I said your track record's not very good. That's why I laugh out loud when I see people, keyboard warriors, banging on the computer, talk about when are the people going to stand up? Where were you? Where have you been? What are you doing now? If you don't learn to say no to something, you're never going to say no. You got to practice. I can't wait till Danielle's back. She's going to be here this weekend. She's going to be here Friday. Lord willing. Hey, everybody, if you got a question or comment or something you want to talk about, put it into the comment section. For everybody else, I need to tell you guys something. We got a book out. It just came out. It's called God in the Storm. You ought to go out and buy it, and you ought to read it, and you ought to share it with people. And if you've already read it, if you already bought it, if you already have it, if you already think it's great, I think you should go on Amazon.com right now, and you should write a review. And I got bigger news. This one's going to be a little weird for some of you people. How many of you know out there and are curious about what happened to a little series called Time Looter? Anybody know what Time Looter is? I realized the other day I have like 8 books that I've written that either are no longer available, they're not being published, or I don't make any money from them, or something else has happened to them. I got 5 or 6 books that I've written that I've never published, but there's about 8 books, and 2 of them are called Time Looter 1 and 2. Time Looter 3 has been done for 3 years and never came out. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Anybody? The official writer of Time Looter is a guy named Fenton Cooper, which is a made-up name. The book was actually written by me and my arch frenemy, Forbes West, under the name Fenton Cooper. Why did we use the name Fenton Cooper? For a lot of reasons. The number one is because it is not my normal family-friendly banter. It is comedy, and it is somewhat, in some places, not particularly family-friendly. All right. So if you have a copy of the 2 Time Looters, I have an announcement to make. Do not go get Time Looters if you're going to be offended that Michael Bunker had something to do with a book that has bad words in it. It's written under a pseudonym, Fenton Cooper. And the reason why is because I didn't want my name if I'm going to be like remembered at some point, let's just say, probably never going to happen, but 50 or 100 years from now, people are going to go, man, this book Wick, man, this was the Gulag Archipelago of its time. Maybe it's going to be the War and Peace. Maybe Futurity, which is my epic lifelong opus, when it comes out, people are going to go, oh my gosh, this guy should be up there on the Mount Rushmore of fiction writers. Not going to happen. But then what happens if that's out there and you got another book, a series of books out there called Time Looter that has fart jokes in it? All right, so here's the top secret inner circle information. A book is going to be coming out, which is going to be an omnibus of the first season, which is the first 3 parts. Don't worry about the fact that you're going to get part 1 and part 2 over again, because the price of the whole omnibus is going to be the same as book 3 would have been. So here really quickly, maybe within the month, there's going to be paperback, hardback, audiobook, and all that for Time Looter, the first season, which will be 3 full-length novels in 1 book. Yeah, we do need some more of Diggers. I think there's going to have to be a detente between me and my good friend Nick Cole, who, by the way, Nick Cole was just nominated for another Dragon Award. Jason Anspach was nominated for a Dragon Award, and Josh Hayes was nominated for a Dragon Award. These are my good friends who I support wholeheartedly, and I hope one or all of them win. So Nick and I wrote Diggers, which is Tonal Rats, and I hope someday to be able to continue that story. Yeah. Forbes and I wrote it. It is tremendously funny. Once you get used to having a antihero who's as bad as our antihero is, and you get to root for him, it's a good story. It's funny. It's humor. It's not 100% my thing, but it was a collaborative effort, and it's a good series of books. And people need to read them. There is going to be a season 2, which is going to be parts 4, 5, and 6, which are already in the planning stages. So God in the Storm is available right now. Go to Amazon.com and buy them, or go to michaelbunker.com, or go to godinthestorm.com. Amazon.com works. And then Time Looter is coming out really, really, really soon. What is the other point that I made? That's it. All right, everybody, here's what I need from you. I need you to hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Did you know this? You know, I tell people all the time, I tell you statistical facts. People don't like statistical facts. Thank you, Heva, so much for the super sticker. This is how we get to keep doing this. Everybody else gets it for free, but those of you who are out there who appreciate it, subscribe, hit the like button, or you can do a super sticker or a super chat, and that sure helps. Anyways, so hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. But here's the fact that might be uncomfortable. 52% of you are not subscribed on my YouTube channel. A few of you, maybe 10%, I forgive because I know that either you can't figure out how to work YouTube or you have some kind of animosity, some animus between you and YouTube, and that's fine. The other 42% need to get over there to YouTube and subscribe. There's just really no reason not to. Don't you want more people to get to see the show? All right. All right. So everybody, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Go to michaelbunker.com. Thank you, War Dog Heim, for the super chat. More Time Looters is coming. Book 3 is already finished and it's in the can. So we're going to get it out really, really quickly. I appreciate it. The last thing I want to tell you is go to michaelbunker.com. At michaelbunker.com, you can find books and you can find other cool stuff. But if you go right about here on the website, it says partner or subscribe. You can subscribe to this show. Do $5, $10, $15, $20 a month, whatever you want to do. And that will allow me to pay all the bills associated with the show. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I got to go. I love you all. Lord willing, I'll see you tomorrow or maybe the next day. We'll see. I'll see you when I see you.